Sketching. It can be weird at first when you start painting digitally, especially if you have a mouse. And even when you buy a tablet, it might feel off to look up somewhere else than where you're drawing. After you get over this weird sensation, it's very straightforward. Subscribe to the Artforge Academy newsletter in order to receive exclusive discounts for our video courses. As we saw in the past video, we can use layers to place different versions of our sketches, and that way we can retrace our steps if we need to. What I need right now is to create various sketches of the same idea. It's good to get the obvious ideas out and start going deeper into our weird little minds to find what's truly cool to see. Making various options, selecting one, and then making various options inside that new one in the industry is called iterating. Iterating is a great way to advance an image and to check in which direction you're going. I often start with a brainstorm, handwriting what I need, and I do that in Photoshop. If you don't have a tablet, handwriting might be difficult, so there's the text tool in Photoshop. Just select the text tool or press T on your keyboard, and you can click and drag an area to create a place where you can start typing. After having that down, we can choose some that are cooler than others. These are the ones I liked. I'm gonna draw a square of the format I need, but I need various of these, so I'm gonna right-click a layer and select Duplicate. This makes an exact copy of the layer, or layers, we had selected on top of it. But the copy was made right on top. We can move this square to the side with the Move tool. We can select it and move stuff, or simply hold Ctrl while clicking and dragging, and that's it. I'm gonna do this a couple times to have enough squares to sketch into. Now that we have these, I'll use the brush tool to start drawing out the ideas I had in the brainstorm. It would be super simple to do if we had a tablet, but if we don't, we can use the mouse. Trying to make small movements on the mouse is tough, so we can zoom in with the zoom tool, or simply press Z and click drag. I zoomed in too much, I need to go back. Pressing Alt usually makes the tool do the opposite it used to do. So, pressing Alt while using the zoom tool will zoom out instead of zooming in. Pressing Alt while using the brush will pick colors instead of laying them out. Pressing Alt while using the Move tool will make copies instead of moving the initial one. Now that I zoomed out, also by dragging, I need to center my view of the canvas to the frame I want to sketch. You could drag the scroll bars on the bottom and side, or press and hold spacebar. A hand appears, and now you can click and drag your view to where you need it. I'll sketch for a bit and come back when I'm done. Now I have these sketches that I like, and I'll choose 4 of them to develop further. I want to be able to give them a bit more detail, but this size is too limited. I'll make 4 larger rectangles and I want to transform the previous ones to fit this new size. I can use the command, edit, free transform, or press Ctrl T and change the size of the square marquee by dragging its corners or sides. Press enter when you're done. Now, I lower the opacity of this layer and create a new one on top to advance these sketches further. I want to make my lines cleaner and show more details than before. Let's say I don't have a tablet, or I need perfect curves for some reason. I can use the pen tool. Selecting it from the toolbox menu or pressing P on your keyboard, this tool can draw straight lines and curves on the same path. We create paths that other tools can follow. We can click to add anchor points. These can create sharp corners if we just click. But if we click and drag, we create a curve. If we made a curve accidentally, we can press Alt, and the curved anchor point becomes a sharp corner again. Once we finish the path, we can right-click and select Stroke Path. This will open a window asking us which tool we would like to use to follow this path. Whatever settings we have on the tool will be carried into this choice, including size and color. That way we can get cleaner lines even if we don't have a tablet. Now that I used the path to do a stroke, it disappeared. It might be in the Paths window. That way I can reuse the path to fill path and get a base color that lines up perfectly with my line art. I'll use these paths to fill out every character, and I'll try to keep them in separate layers and organized folders to make life easier. You can even set colors to your layers to make them easier to spot at a glance. To set colors to my layers, I right-click on them and set a color. I used red for the things I don't want to be visible at the end of the process, blue for effects, and purple for guides. But you just use them as you please. But wait, why isn't this layer giving me options to set colors? Right-clicking on the preview of our layer gives you different options than right-clicking on the gray area with the layer's name. Just have that in mind. Now that we're here, let me delve a bit deeper on this process of coloring. This is the image we did with our character and his friend. Now we'll use these colors as a guide. I'm going to use the brush tool to paint, and pressing Alt, I can pick these colors to use on this other pose we see the characters in. I want to mix these colors, so the smudge tool can help us with that. It's a tool that mixes colors a bit like you would mix colors in a painting palette. This can get pretty dirty after a bit, so use sparingly. Also, bear in mind that this tool only affects the colors on the layer you're working on. If you try to smudge an empty layer, nothing will happen. We can have different brushes in Photoshop, and making brushes is the coolest part, but that's a bit more advanced. For now, just know that there are hard-edged brushes and soft-edged brushes, and you can change the hardness here. There are also brushes that vary with pressure, and that's one advantage of using a tablet. We can also simulate pressure with the pen tool to a certain extent. We'll continue this image on the next video where we learn how to select, cut, and paste.